and you're trying to improve your OS, this is a problem. Don't do this. Build a T1 lab.
This is AllReasonNoLogic's road to OS25. Let's follow Pradith's journey from starting skill rating 16 as he makes his way to rating 25 and beyond.
G'day people, welcome to episode 8 of Beyond All Reason, the road to OS25, where we follow Pradith's climb through the OS ranks, currently sitting at 18.94, losing in the last game saw a drop of a massive 1.5 OS, it was above 20, and falling down. That's what happens though when you don't play a bucket load of games, so that variation is quite big, and when you're also the highest OS player on your team in the lobby, you're going to get affected more by a loss. Okay, today we're dropping into Coombe Valley, one that we haven't seen yet. A map that forces teams into brutal early fights while demanding smart expansions in the background. With a wide open midsection, aggressive pushes can turn the tide fast, but the real battles are often played behind the scenes, especially in these mid to lower level OS lobbies. Eco scaling and well-timed tech transitions are very important in these. Let's see how the players handle the chaos, and as always, we'll do our best to critique without making enemies to the battlefield prey.
One of the things that I love about this map is how hard it is to do that final push. If you're in the I guess you say the frontline bottom or frontline top position, regardless of how hard the fight is around these cliffs, to get up into that person's base, you have to go through an S-shaped cliff, which is such a hard thing to do, even with units that can walk up. They can walk up sheer cliffs like spiders. Absolutely great game, which allows for an ebb and flow. And because of the wide open space in the middle, anytime that you have an advantage or you see a hole that you can exploit, you can swing your units up and down. So it's a very, very difficult map to defend and also be offensive on. Got to take the opportunities where you see them and help allies as you can. Zooming in right onto Keeper of Storms, we can see that a small number of rascals are coming in and are going to absolutely annoy him to the ends of the earth. This is one Mex and all of his energy taken out. What a rough start.
Very interesting start. There's only one player down the bottom there. You can see that Razor, the blue player for the other team, only 2 chevrons, so maybe not knowing the typical starting positions. So it's 1 versus 2 in the middle here. And you've picked on that. Well done. When they're down, kick them.
Thankfully, the other players in the front, Lanx and Proxy, are jumping on down. But I've identified a hole in the base, and I'm heading up here to annoy the Wind player, getting some of the mexes, closing the power off, and just slowing him down.
By wind, you mean air?
Sorry. Air is such a energy-heavy position. Anything you can do to slow this one down is great. Hoping to find someone in that top section of the map after taking the Wind. Sorry, I'm predicting the future. Don't worry about me. But unfortunately, as we can see on the replay, there is nothing quite up here. So, still good amount of damage. Took out some extra mexes, took out plenty of power, and set 2 players on the back foot for the start of the match, all for the cost of 4 rascals, which I say is a steal.
You can see a number of units now coming across for the blue team. A very starved middle start for those 2 middle players, because yourself and 7 in 7 row just have the commanders there going for some extra conversion. I probably would suggest that as soon as you can, get some builders forward to build those mexes, which you're doing now. There's plenty of 2s in front of the base, but it is a dangerous place to build. You can see everyone else getting 6 roughly. Yeah, it looks like everyone else gets 6 positions. Yeah, orange usually takes those 2, yellow those 2, brown those 2. Everyone else gets 6 mexes, and they're all worth 2, so a lot more metal around the base. Those middle players real starved out.
One of the things which you can see happening is the blue team is taking much better control of the middle of the map initially. Able to push on down some missed commands by myself, trying to deal with some run-bys and whatnot, some help from roosters up above, just trying to help clear out some of this, but all the damage that I did to my base completely repaid in kind by a terrible D-gun by myself. I properly thought that I wasn't going to hit the lab. I was standing next to it, and my D gun doesn't actually pass through it, but the hitbox of the lab is slightly larger
Yeah.
than the building itself,
Even though you
and
can
so
see
that is a huge setback.
the hitbox extends like to the closest edges, so it'd be out there and then that corner
Yep.
there. So that's what we're seeing. Probably just got nicked in that
Yep.
corner. Very
Just got nicked in
unfortunate.
that corner.
That's 600,
So-
700 metal down the drain, unfortunately.
And while that's happening, my builder that was on the front line did not have an area mex command, so I was not grabbing those mexes. So a couple of early mistakes from myself. It's not too bad though, because of the damage that I did. It's sort of expected that when you're learning to be a little bit better at the game, when you're learning to try and balance your micro and macro at the same time, you will make mistakes, and that's just part of the journey. You just got to keep yourself in the fight and keep yourself going forward. And it does mean that Keeper of the Storms is going to be able to get back into the game, and they have managed to take that high ground with a couple of LLTs, a radar, and they're going into vehicles, so definitely going to be a little bit of an advantage for them.
It's almost sometimes better if a player has more eco and they get to jump up the T2 faster, even though they might not have the APM there. The eco is definitely going to be an advantage, so we'll see how that goes for the blue team. I don't love that the blue player started in the bottom right, because you can see the knock-on effects. This air player's then taking the 3 mexes in front, leaving the green player to only push forward for mexes, whereas on the opposite corner, the brown player's been able to push forward and back to take mexes. So eco advantage probably to Travis there over Proxy 444.
Though Proxy 444 does have the positional advantage and does have the LLT set up, so they're not in a bad spot. Thankfully, the yellow player in the bottom is keeping Sergeant Monkey distracted, so there's not going to be too much in the way of reinforcements.
Nice
Everyone's
little
just
raid,
trying to...
sorry, from Roosters, just getting through and taking out all the build power for the blue base, so stopping Keeper of the Storm from pushing through right now. Back to it over here.
Big areas at the front to try and defend from. You just can't cover the entire entrance into that into the middle front bases. There's just too much space, and if you try to, you're going to spend way too much on LLTs when you need to be pushing units forward. Though if you're up against someone who deguns their own lab, you're probably reasonably safe to get those defensive LLTs.
Roosters and is it Travis? Both sending their area mexes out, and they've taken, you can see circling here, these 2 mexes here and these 2 mexes here. They probably should have both given those back to yourself and 7-7 row because of that slow metal start. A little bit greedy of them, or just an accident on the mex, but I think that's the way it's meant to go.
At the end of the day, though, as long as the metal's going to the team and isn't sitting there lost, it's still doing something, and there will and so long as the players are all supporting the middle, you're all fighting the same fight. So as much metal that can be shoved into this middle section, as possible, the better. Units finally coming back out now that my lab is back up, but with 800 metal sucked away, that's the equivalent of quite a few of the lashes or wolverines I like to build.
Yeah, so luckily with the raid into the Cyan players base, they've not got many units themselves, and they've gone for a couple Janus and Stouts, and the Shell Shockers, I don't know how much damage they'll do. Actually, it looks like they're getting a bit. I think where the real interesting action is down in this bottom lane though. I did see the yellow player build a bunch of LLTs and whatnot compared to the purple player building units and not many LLTs, and it's kind of paid off for the purple player. They've now got a big unit advantage, and if they keep pushing this, the yellow player, even though they've gone for T2 up, oh yeah, it is greedy, T2 up on their hill, purple player could really take advantage of this and push all the way through, I feel.
If I were the purple player right now, I'd be pushing super hard. There's two grunts dancing in the front. That tells me that it's time to push, and that's exactly what they're doing. The twin guard isn't up. They're going to take out a build turret, and that is white. That's going to be quite the donation.
How far will it get though? I do think now that T2 lab's out, yep, straight into Fiends, and that should be enough to take out all those inactive units that are now pulling back. We see this quite often in the lower level lobbies. Like, there's a mindset that it's like halfway through the map, we just got to get to halfway and hold. No, get as far as you can and hold at that point that you can get. If you can get all the way across the map, that's the point to hold.
Does look like the Maroon player has heard the call to arms and is sending some units down to help defend yellow. And with these fiends and this short ramp and this close ramp, should theoretically be able to hold, particularly if they shoot down from that high
Once
ground
again,
position.
pulling back. It could have taken out that geo. That would have taken out a geo.
If you lose all of those pawns, but you manage to take out T2 lab or the build power or the conversion, whatever, totally worth it. Totally worth it. But now you're fighting in range of an LLT with a comm nearby, T2, and you've just left all the reclaim available for the yellow player.
Some people say, well, no, it's not worth it unless you get the medal. Like if you lose over 700 medal worth of units, taking out a 700 medal value lab, it's not worth it, or it's equal. It's not. It's the time that you've taken away from that other player as well. It's not just the medal transition. What's happened here though is just a unit donation without taking out much. I mean, you've got an extra mech advantage in position. Mech, sorry.
But not for long.
And there it goes down. And then we got T2 here. Has the people player reacted by going T2 themselves? They have not. Oh,
and that
no.
is a super fast comm going down. 4 fiends for a comm. Good trade.
Unfortunately, though, Brown's having to react to Green pushing into their base. So, good time to push forward for Green, knowing that Brown's sending all their units over. And, yeah, I like what Cowboy's doing. Building some LLTs there, just to stop the reclaim happening.
And hopefully, so their comm doesn't get quite as surrounded. But even with it, I'd have gone in with these units. I'm just being real. Attacking the ground to try and kill the corpse. That's not a bad play, but weren't able to get rid of it. D-gun's going down, but it does look like there's going to be a... Yep, there we go.
Unfortunately, there's nothing now for the purple player that's gone into a T2 lab themselves. Is overflowing metal. Also reclaiming the T1 lab whilst full of metal. So a few errors there. Seeing the error there, actually, and correcting it. And don't think there's enough wind. 150 energy
9
coming
wind
in.
For a T2 transition. Plus 3 solars. No, you need more than that.
Yeah, so purple really had a chance then of breaking yellow, and I think it's going to go completely in the other direction. You can see no reaction. The yellow player doing what you're meant to do, and are they going to push up? Yep, going to keep pushing up until you get that resistance. So they'll see it shortly. Let's move elsewhere.
Looks like the middle of the map is just a slogfest with everyone just managing, but we are timing for a decent push from myself and 77 row, just trying to take out some of this, take out some of what's in the middle, see if we can't push in. Unfortunately, great place gauntlet over there is going to prevent us from actually getting much more into the base. Grouped up thugs taking extra damage and being shelled from behind is not helping them, but are going to take out a lot of the teal players' army, and allowing for a bit of a safer and slower middle engage. This is the time that I should be transitioning, though I do not currently have enough in the way of energy or metal to do so. Roosters, with those extra 2 mexes, that whole extra 4 metal is just going... Oh, sorry, extra 5.5 metal has just absolutely screwed me. But has come in with the fiends to help out, so I'm going to call that one moderately paid back.
For those that don't watch this that often, Roosters and Prodeath do play this often together, both part of the AllReasonNoLogic clan, so they are on comms together often from what I know.
Though big attack coming up to Roosters right now. The Fiend's going to have to be pulled back to try and help deal with this. Good reaction from Roosters pulling the units back, but not quite good enough, as it does look like those grunts are about to... Yep, those grunts have crashed into the aggravator line.
And nicely done by Lanks, seeing that Roosters was pushing through with those Fiends. And actually, I'm liking what Roosters is doing here as well. Rather than going back with those Fiends, they're just producing more Fiends to defend and using the Fiends that they already had forward to then attack, where Roosters knows the units are being sent from Lanks. And we might see a lab go down.
Push in here. Yep, if that lab goes down, that'd be great, but I'd love to see those T2 Solars and the T2 Mexes go down. Unfortunately, with only 2 fiends left and a comm chasing them down, probably not enough time to stick around and do that. So making the right choice and continuing to run them through, see what other damage can be done. One of them getting harassed by an LLT as they walk through, manages to survive but won't survive the welder. I still reckon that was the right choice for them, trying to get what they can done, even if they weren't quite able to push deep. Question is, did that give us a view of the anti-nuke? Let's have a quick little sneak.
No, you don't have.
Doesn't look like it.
Not
that that's super relevant. There's no one building a nuke at this point, since I'm on the front line, so I can't cheese it. But
oh, North Lane. We've got a. That's I've got the colours. Yeah, colours mixed up, but just as ticks. Not going to get the whole way through. I don't think this player here is too new to the game. No, 2 chevrons. You can see a bit of a broken lab. Push back quite a bit. I have seen them up in chat being a little bit aggressive. Not what you want to do if you're new to the game. It's better to be inquisitive. Ask what you could do differently rather than tell everyone what you want. And this air player on your team, I have no idea what they're doing. Yeah.
They've been here and there randomly.
No air. Oh, sorry, I did miss the fighters on the front. I thought there was no airline.
And they've built a couple of gunships to try and assist.
Okay, so doing a bit.
Yeah. Oh, looks like we just had the green comm go down as T2 is pushing into the middle from Marone, doing a good job taking out a lot of units, and now concentrating a little bit of fire on that gauntlet. Agitator, which is exactly what we need to claim the middle of the map.
No, is that comm going to go down? I just saw it getting picked off by the LLT, but it's okay. 20% left on it.
Got to back that one up.
Sheldons really need a radar. It might have already gone down. I can see they've got the deceiver in there to prevent the radar picking them up, but need a radar themselves. So that comm probably putting down a radar is the best thing it could do right now, so that those Sheldons can get their maximum worth. Yellow really pushing through now. That T2 transition. We've still not got T2 for Sergeant Monkey. That was a good 5 minutes ago we were up here. Very slow transition.
Speaking of slow transitions, looking at myself, I still don't have even the glimpses of a fusion going up. I've got a T2 going out, T2ing all of my mexes, but I really should have tapped down a fusion in my base with 5 to 10 wind. This wind is just not giving me what I need, and I'm stalling my I'm going to be stalling myself pretty damn hard as I try and go into T2, so I definitely should have used that to try to get a little bit more effect.
I think this is the point in time where I'd build a couple just normal solars and then maybe 2 or 3 advanced solars. That's just enough. If you get 2 advanced solars down, you get a couple solars, and then you do get crap wind, it is enough to still feed that early T2 economy, enough to get out those fiends and those Sheldons.
I mean, look at this. I'm sitting on 3k metal. I should have just like in reclaim, I should say. Decent positioning. Should have just been reclaiming this and turning it into a fusion using that T2 builder that I'd been given, or turning it into a T2 lab. Does look like a large amount of sprinters and hounds starting to make their way towards roosters, but based on what I have in the middle, I do not have what I need to fight these sprinters, and these hounds definitely need to do something, and not reclaiming the metal in the middle is definitely not going to help me.
Yeah. I don't mind what yellow's doing here. Knowing what you talked about at the start of this game, it's so hard to work up this hill, especially when you're doing a Sheldon composition and arbiters. They're not going to get much value. Going and helping Brown to push this army back. Having said 100%. That, as I've said that, they've actually pulled back a little bit. So.
Which is just, imagine if that army had joined up with the Sheldons and just started pushing up Greens Hill. That against thugs are going to do nothing against, what is it, 33 Sheldons between the 2 players.
Ooh,
and also, if Yellow had pushed in to cover Travis may have been able to pull his units back to assist the defense in the middle a little bit more. Might not have lost his comm.
Another comm. So, yeah, Travis's comm just going down. Got a few Sheldons there to keep things at bay. Aggravators are going to do okay against this. I mean, they don't fall too quickly, but they're definitely not going to win the fight. There's a lot of metal there in the middle of the map. 8,000. Almost would have been worth me building a bot lab just for res bots. You got T2 lab up now, thankfully, but just I know wind's alright.
The wind is alright, but I've only got 60. Okay, I've got 69. It's not too bad.
I would have almost considered an advanced fusion and advanced geo in the middle of the map. That would have probably gone down quite nicely and taken care of all your energy needs for a frontline position for the rest of the game. Here we go.
I mean,
Yellow's
I should have built a geo gun.
Yeah, that too. Yellow doing work with these Sheldons and Arbiters.
And it does look like green is pushing up towards pink pretty damn hard now, and Rooster's just about to finish their advanced geo is potentially going to be in big trouble if that position falls.
Probably should have been a Cerberus in my opinion, especially with that much of a push out of the lime green. Just going to focus over here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to get a print screen. I need a nice thumbnail for this video. I do.
Well, if you grabbed all the rockets in the air, that would have been nice. Oh, and you got the air coming in.
That's cute.
What a good little print screen we got right there. Does look like the air is coming in. Only fighters for the time being, though it is backed up by, I was wrong, backed up by 4 strategic bombers. Question is, will this be enough to punch through our air player not reacting?
Yeah.
Until now. There we go.
They've got a few fighters, probably not enough. They will lose that battle. Those strategic bombers falling though to all the I mean, I don't love the Manticore, but it's done its job. It's actually taken
It's done its job. It's done its job.
If you want mobile anti-air, go the flak trucks. They do so much better than the bots for both teams, that is, as well. Oh, here we go. A few pings over in the north, and we've got a number of hounds coming through. And I reckon exactly what you predict. Have you played this game by chance?
I didn't play this game. I definitely wasn't listening to Rooster lose his damn mind on Discord while this happened.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm a little bit less experienced there, but that's what you get in these lobbies. And probably majority of the economy, yeah, we're just down to wind there for...
Meanwhile, Roosters. I should be losing my mind because I've left 9.6... metal in the middle of the map. What am I doing?
Yeah, and even
if you're watching this and you're trying to improve your OS, this is a problem. Don't do this. Build a T1 lab. Get res bots, even if it like 9,000 metal. 9,000 metal. Just get that in your belly.
9,000 metal.
Just do whatever it takes to get it in your belly.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving it right now to a player that decided to build 11 T1 solar collectors.
Yeah.
And is at 21 minutes and is still on T1.
Yep. I mean, at least someone's getting it. Actually, that's the other team that's getting it too at the same time. Just one res bot taking a few out. It will go down, but...
So don't be me. Eat your damn metal. Grow big and strong. Be a Nutrigrain kid or whatever it is.
That's an Australian cereal, I reckon. Half the viewers would not. We grew up in very interesting cereal over here. I mean, if you live overseas and know what Nutrigrain is, leave it in the comment. What about Wheat Bix? Do you have Wheat Bix over there?
Everyone's got Wheat Bix, don't they?
I'm actually back on the Wheat Bix.
Nutribix or something somewhere else in the world?
I'm on the Wheat Bix, but I'm celiac and I can't eat gluten, but they've made gluten-free ones now.
For you.
So I don't know how they can call them Wheat Bix when there's no wheat in them.
Just looking down at the bottom, couple of bulls getting absolutely demolished by... Oh dear.
That's a big army.
Oh dear. All those arbiters just rained hell down onto the Sheldons.
Ouch. Yeah, that's not the best micro there. It happens though. Shit happens.
Yep.
I think now I've got an atomic bomber up. I love atomic bombers for sniping armies in front of... So yeah. Where it is now, if it just went forward and took out these fiends... Do a lot of work.
Yeah, atomic bombers can be an absolute strategic nightmare because they can just swoop in and they're actually reasonably tanky. Unless you've got quite a lot of anti-air, they'll usually get their payload off. And I do believe that did happen to Zyme, the pink player in the top left, a couple of times. I'm pretty sure they got nuked a couple of times during the course of this with the liches, and that's the reason for having 14 nettles up in that top section just
Wow,
to
this
try and stop the
economy
bleeding.
on the bottom right, that is interesting. That is not efficient if
Oh,
this player is
dear.
watching. You want to really get to
Oh,
T2.
dear.
So obviously still learning that game there and going into a fusion without upgrading the mexes first. You want to upgrade mexes before you go into T2 energy.
Oh dear. Yeah, look, one of the nice things is you can reclaim the metal, and you only need to reclaim, what, 10 of these advanced solar collectors to pay for a fusion? Um,
There's
anyway,
nice economy
that's,
coming up here for your orange player, Tavern Car. T3 lab up. I do like that. I see so many rookie players or newer players going. Sorry, I've read the wrong. Yeah, they're one chef. Yeah, I was right. New player going into like massive ecos, like 8 aphises before building any units. So
I have something which I would do if I was in this situation is instead of getting that T3 lab, I would be putting spam down the front line, because right now the threat is snipers and starlights, and without spam, the front line is about to have a very, very bad time.
Oh yeah,
The other thing is that
starlights. You're right.
having the T3 lab is the cost of an aphis, which means that by building the T3 lab and then building another aphis, you could have built the aphis first and then the T3 lab and still be in the same position, because no units have come out of that T3 lab just yet.
All good advice, but still for a one chef player, nicely done getting that sort of economy.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
doing better than a lot of the other players in the match. Tavern Car. It is dangerous on this front line though, and then that you look at the work of that flak truck just taking down that entire line of bots. Have we got anything here on the front line?
No, we don't, because I have stalled myself super hard.
Energy. Oh, you've given your energy to Roosters as well because
they lost their Geo.
Yeah.
And I am just not capable of producing what I need to defend this, because because when I had the opportunity to scale my eco, I did not. Whereas Keeper of Storms, when they had the opportunity to scale their eco, they did, and that's why we're seeing Keeper of Storms, even though they've been on the back foot the whole game, with 2 fusion reactors and me with none. So this is for, like, without mincing words in any way, shape, or form, this was bad. This was bad by me. I made big mistakes in this game by not scaling my eco when I had the opportunity, and because of that, I've been completely overrun by a handful of bulls, a couple of snipers, and a couple of starlights.
Not looking good for your team on the north, but the south is going all right. I kind of need to... Oh, good air raid coming over the top there. That would have been a nice
big air raid coming over the top, and it is T2 fighters against T1 fighters, so I don't think this is going to go super well. And those pink liches are just going to freely go down to the purple fighters.
And the green player reclaiming everything on the front line, doing really nicely. And the green player's really... I don't know who's going to... It's going to be all yin-yang. Don't tell us what's going to happen here. I haven't watched this one yet, but...
The only thing that I'm going to say about this one is that I played really badly, and objectively I'm watching this and trying to learn my lessons of having to... you have to keep swapping between eco and units. If you're sitting in the middle like I was defensively, I should have been ecoing.
Really good Juno on
and
this.
I wasn't.
This yellow army just getting completely taken out because of the Juno right onto the middle of the army. So then the radar's going down, vision's lost, and you can just see there. They can only see a little bit. On the units with the range of sight is those manticores, and the last one's going down there. Luckily, a secondary army coming through though to hold the line. Yeah, very dominant from the blue team, but your orange player is keeping the eco into the advantage of the red team.
One of the things that it's definitely worth saying, even though the air is most certainly in favor of the blue team, what has that gotten them?
Yeah, probably not efficient use. I actually think the air player just played straight over. I hate to say it, but they could have picked on you and the player next to you. Just at this, and that would have really probably been the way to win. Especially with green getting such a big army coming through. Are they scaling their eco? They are. They're scaling their eco, but still building units at the same time. This is where you turn your labs off, just get that next aphis up. Way too much build power. If your eco is empty, you've got enough build turrets. Don't build anymore. So
Speaking
that's the only
of
criticism there.
speaking of scaling eco, after all the damage that I took, that is the plan that I have to get back into the game. I am going to be relying on Roosters and the player next to me, row 77 row, to hold that middle, and I'm going to be shoving all of what I can into eco. Just trying to get some build turrets up, trying to get the fusion down. We'll do some reclaim shenanigans to try and get this up, but aiming for 2 fusions to get me back into the game, while sending units out just to build these advanced metal extractors. Just try and sneak the metal that I can, and hope, essentially, and hope, because with what I have right now, I can fund plus 20 metal a second. I can fund 1 tiger tank every 34 seconds. That's barely going to make a difference. So I just have to pull back and do what I can. Building them on the front, probably not the best idea, but I'm just trying to get them down as fast as humanly possible so that I can come back and contribute maybe in another 5 minutes.
I don't think you realise that you had a bunch of spiders given to you that have all been assigned to a wind turbine.
Yes, had absolutely no idea. I noticed those ones before and wasn't going to comment on it because I was hoping you wouldn't see it either. Yes, I had no idea these were here. These will remain here for the rest of the game. Unless they get killed.
T3 coming out, so looks like no T3 lab here. What's happening? Having cars actually giving out T3. You can see the Titans being given to the brown player, both brown players actually.
Which is if you're not confident in controlling them and you have people fighting on the front line, it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. I prefer it when people control the units themselves, but it is what it is. I don't love that he's building Titans at the same time as the advanced fusion. Just get the fusion up and then build the next Titan, or build the Titan and then get the next
this
fusion
Titan
up,
that's being sent in is just going to die so easy. So snipers and Starlights just picking this apart, especially there with the pulsar as well. You want to put spam in front of the Titan, and the spam is coming just too late. So that's a free donation. If I was the blue team, I'd actually...
I'd be reclaiming this with prejudice. That's so much metal.
Yeah, reclaim or res. I reckon I'd res it if I had the eco for it.
I reckon you'll struggle to res it just because of what's sitting in front of it, the Wakers and the Banishers. But getting a comm in to get some reclaim, still very manageable.
There we go. Yellow's trying to push up that hill, which looks quite unpushable. Yeah, there's a fat boy up the top there. You're not getting past that. Do we have any anti-air in this mix? We do. So yeah, it's really good having anti-air worked into your armies. Takes out the airline. Quite unknowingly as well. I can't tell who's going to win this.
I mean, I know because I played it, but I can tell you right now it's not going to be easily won regardless of which side it is.
There is... Yeah, the eco is a little bit smaller, or a lot smaller actually, for the green player than it is for the red team, the orange player. I wouldn't mind saying Roosters push. He's got a big army, got a Titan, got the Cerberus up for defense. So even if the army falls, you got quite a strong unit there to defend.
That Cerberus doing absolute work because it's capable of defending
the
angle of the light blue. It's able to attack in that top section, and it's helping to defend against the far
He's
right.
Got
but
a area attack on. He's area attacking the lines that is getting most pressured, which I don't mind because there is overshots from Cerberus. It won't necessarily. You can see the damage range. You can see a bullet hitting all the way out there outside the damage range. So just putting it on the max damage range and getting some use out of it.
I don't mind that, but it also meant that it missed shots on that entire clump of recluses at the top. But
I wouldn't reach them, I don't think. No, it doesn't.
It does.
It does.
Where they were before, it did. But it's sort of one of those. It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
Because of those shots, it probably helped to move some of these units away.
An LRPC trying to ping off that Cerberus as well. Yeah, it's directly fixed onto it. Let's go back to where the real action is, and that's spam lines coming through. We got Fiends and Grunts pushing through, and I reckon we're going to see 3 fusions fall down here.
Oh, that'd be lovely. Amazing how much spam can do. Just about to fall.
There it goes.
There we go. Amazing just how much damage spam can do, because that was only a handful of grunts and a handful of fiends just marching their way in, and they're into the purple base as well.
Yeah, air being sent in from purple, getting so far in again, but then hardly any bombers.
Where
And
are
they
the
were T1
bombers?
There was T1 bombers, and they were all clumped together. Quite often, so people, when you get your labs, by default, the stance of the units produced will be to land, but fighters don't land. They will always fly. Your bombers will all land in the same spot. So if you do that, make sure when you pick them up, you spread them out before sending them in. So
just jump into purple. Look at those yellow units getting super close to destroying some fusions. There we go.
I am completely
Whole
lost.
bunch of
Where's
fusions destroyed.
Bugger, missed it. I was looking at
Wrong
the other spot
purple.
there. Other spot that they're attacking. So purple with two armies, nicely done. Good micro on two different faces. Showing a little bit more experience than most of the team members there on the nice silver-tailed chevron.
And that eco damage for the green player and for the, I guess we'll call them the lilac player, I probably should have called them that from the get-go, has absolutely brought the eco in favor of the red team.
100% ahead, so I do think you guys will win this one. Just looking at this now, especially with Cerberus almost everywhere. There is a defensive service for the blue team.
Just having a look
at
at Rooster's army, just got hit by some T3 catapults. Those things are devastating into Sheldon balls. Not to mention, it looks like some mines too, actually.
Yeah, not the best micro there out of Roosters. I can't see the cursor. Probably in the back of the base. Nope. Who knows? But still, very strong army pushing forward. It looks like they're using a control command. Yes, they are. So if you select the whole army, hold down control. This is with legacy keys. I don't know what it is with grid. Still learning them.
Yeah, it's almost like you use that excuse all the time.
Yes, I do. Going to get through, but keeping those strong units at the front, so I don't mind that, keeping the Sheldons behind, but those catapults just destroying everything but the Titans. Don't know if the Titans are going to make it. They are quite bulky. What is going to stop the Titans? Is there a commander here? Yes, there's one commander there.
These Titans really saving this push. Without them, the catapults would have completely blunted this. But doing a good job of breaking through. This Titan getting pretty low though, being concentrated on.
Probably
Let's see
take
what
it back
happens.
if I was Roosters. I know going for the control D, but it's probably going to fall.
Control D is going to fall, but do love the effort there. If you manage to control D, the unit does not leave the corpse behind for reclaim, and when you decide to go this deep, that is one of the things you've just got to do. Blue team calling for D-guns on those front Titans, but the Titans are well in, and it does look like they're going to get the T3 lab. Just one more shot. There we go.
And then are we going for the build power afterwards? I think you might do that.
The Titans are not going to escape where they are right now, so may as well push them straight
Another
in.
control D. This will be quite good if it actually explodes, because it will take out all those ticks and sprinters.
This one's going to explode. There's 100% this one's going to explode. There's not enough damage there.
Takes out the
Great job
damage.
taking out the ticks. Also, sorry, I'm just noticing this. The way that this build power has been spread out, that one gets D-guns, so no corpse either. But the way those were spread out, they didn't chain react, which is bad. Like, spreading them out can be bad for how many you can fit in. But if you don't have the eco to support a lot of them, spreading them out like that definitely going to help keep them alive.
Got to kind of push over here in this corner, and a bunch of recluses coming up to attack pink. But look at all these towers on the hill. I actually might take my attention away from there, because I don't think it's getting through, especially with that Cerberus. Where I'm going to look though is yellow has managed to push off that bottom hill, but we do have a dragon. There are manticores, so they should take it out.
Dragon's still very stonk. Very stonk. Does look like the Karganeth shooting it down though.
Yeah, it does get it. So
there we go.
Just going good.
Just wanna pull the attention back to myself really quickly. Yep, it's taken me a little bit to get back into the game, but just starting to pump units out now again. And that's the thing, when you do get set back as far as I did, you have to just try to get back into the game any way you can, and it's just been the support of the people around me that have helped out a lot to keep me alive, and now trying to
Oh, we gotta
get
resign.
myself to do something. But that is a resign. Yellow clearly. Yellow doing a fantastic job on the offense. Pink managing to hold despite all of the aggression, and the maroon player covering us as well as Rooster covering me.
Yeah,
Doing
nicely
doing their absolute best to hold the middle. So it was well played by the team. Good units handed out by the eco player. The eco player having a big effect on the game. Still well played by the blue team, but the concentration on just the middle, essentially from them, ended up being their downfall.
You can see a lot of damage dealt there out of Roosters at the start. The green player doing really well, and then those backline players really coming through. Yellow consistently attacking throughout that whole game. You got hit very hard, and you can see at that 25-ish minute mark just having to go back and do what you're meant to do. If you lose an army, don't just keep putting out a unit every now and then on a bad eco. Be greedy, get at least one fusion up, maybe two, maybe three if you're winning, if your team's covering your lane. And that's exactly what you did, the right thing there. And the team coming through, yellow down south where the brown, supported by that massive eco out of orange. You can see, what do we got? Metal produced, number one in the game, and well ahead with the energy there. And that puts your OS up by 0.81, up to 19.79, almost back to the 20 there. You can see though, you lose a game, you've lost 1.5. You win a game, you only gain back 0.8, and that's because you're one of the highest OS in the lobby. And it's a slow road, but we're going to get there.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we will catch you in the next one, and we hope that you enjoyed the break from Supreme Mythmas and Glitters. I swear we're not going to be back at one of those next game.
See you next time, guys.